Shadow of the Colossus. Yeah. Let me just start by saying this. Shadow of the Colossus changed my life. I'll never forget going to pick up the game at Blockbuster, and I was with my mom, and I just remember the box art of the game intrigued me. I didn't know anything about the game previously. I just saw it at good old Blockbuster, and I picked it up. And I remember coming home and playing it while the rest of my family was watching that awful Pink Panther remake with Steve Martin. And I also remember being pretty sad that night. I think my sister yelled at me for being a little annoying wiener butt, like little brothers are. But after booting up the game and beating the first Colossus, I was honestly shook. Like, I had never played anything like that in my life up until that point, and being a young little kid, that was something really special to me. And after renting the game, I made my mom buy it because, I don't know, I wanted to keep playing it. And I played this game like crazy. Way after I beat the base game too, I just kept on playing it. My friends and I would just spend hours riding our horse around, exploring the world, jumping off cliffs, and refighting our favorite colossi. I remember showing off the Avion boss fight to all of my friends and even my cousins. And this boss fight was so amazing and so epic. I just remember that we kept doing it over and over again because it was that good, especially for a bunch of, dweeby kids that had never played anything of that caliber before. And I even showed it to my friends that didn't play video games because I thought it was that cool. And they were like, dang, Daniel, this is pretty cool, this is pretty sick, okay? And this game today is still one of my favorite games of all time. I had never played a game that left me so speechless and utterly blown away like Shadow of the Colossus left me. It totally captured an adventure of such huge yet personal scale, and I felt like just a swaggy little kid playing the game because I was beating these giant monsters. And the world, albeit barren and completely empty, it consumed me. The whole world of the game just ate me up. I think as a kid that was my favorite part. I loved fighting the colossi, but I just loved exploring the world. And as a young naive kid whose biggest problem was losing his Yu-Gi-Oh cards, which was still a really big freaking deal in real life, I just remember wanting to live in this world. This game was truly an escape for me, and again, I can't express how much I love this game. I feel the same way about it now as I did then as a kid. It was the perfect escape. But Nick here, he's never played the game growing up. He's finally been able to play the remaster on the PlayStation 4. Let's see what some fresh eyes have on this little piece. Let's see what Nick thinks about it, eh? Alright. Peace out, Boy Scout.
Shadow of the Colossus was a game that I was completely unaware of until about a year and a half ago. Daniel had always recommended this game to me, but I never had a PS4. So when I picked up a PS4 recently, he offered to let me borrow his copy of this year's remake of the title. Naturally, I said yes because, why not? So, I boot this game up and the opening credits of the game begin with a hawk flying over what looks like a gorgeous yet godless landscape. As the theme begins, flutes flutter in as the shot cuts over to the main protagonist on his trusty steed. My first impressions of this game were immediately set in stone, as I knew the strengths of this game would lie with its atmosphere. Much of the game is spent riding your horse aggro, through lush landscapes of grass and desolate ruins in complete silence. It's almost haunting at times, but it's also beautiful all at once. The game tells an equally haunting story about a boy named Wander, who needs to destroy 16 colossi to bring his lost lover back from the dead. The 16 colossi have sealed away a dark and menacing power that can revive this lover. There's a powerful theme within this narrative that teaches the player about blind love and individuality. The story is told with a small amount of dialogue, which makes the game puzzlingly cryptic. But it all comes together at the end. The game's ending is odd, but makes you think about your own existence. Pretty deep, right? The world in Shadow of the Colossus is in a league of its own. It was very eye-opening to see the kind of influence this game has had since its release in 2005. One of my favorite releases of the last decade Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild draws a clear influence from Shadow of the Colossus, and I didn't even know that it existed until last year. From the nature of the open world itself and the gargantuan beast that you conquer, to the minimal use of music and calming landscapes that you traverse as Link or Wander, these games are alike in more ways than I was ever aware of. So at the very least, I have come to appreciate this game for its lasting influence on games that I love and play today. This is one of those few games that every gamer should experience, and not just play. In today's world, people treat games similarly to movies. While it's true that games in many cases are great interactive stories, it can also be observed that games aren't recognized or appreciated enough for their atmospheric effects and gameplay mechanics. Shadow of the Colossus excels in the former, while the latter is iffy at certain points. Oftentimes while you're fighting a boss in this game, you'll find yourself frustrated by some dated controls and punishing sequences that require some tedious work. These are points where the game falls short, but these issues pale in comparison to its strengths. Shadow of the Colossus is a once-in-a-lifetime game, and is one that will only exist once. It stands alone in its storytelling and world-building, and deserves to be experienced by every fan of video games. So, play it and finish it. It's only like 5 hours long. What do you have to lose?
To our channel. Ooh. Yeah.